Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth and this is Beth's Bookish Reviews, and I'm here today to show you my November TBR. I wanted to pull from the box, the canister, but I just have so many books I have to read right now. So I've just got some nonfiction and a Christmas book, and then some books that I'm reading for a book club. So let's just get to it. The first one I want to show you is I asked these ladies that I have a book discussion with every month, and it's in Books Love Jenna, her book club. And so I asked them if there was a book that they knew of that would help me draw closer to the Lord. And Jenna had a couple of them, and I ordered them. So this is one of them. I'm going to start with this one, and it is called Bearing God's Name, and it's by Carmen Joy Imes. And she said it was really good. It says, have you ever wondered what the Old Testament, especially the Old Testament law, has to do with your Christian life? You are not alone. Some Christian leaders believe we should cast off the Old Testament now that we have the New. Carmen Joy Imes disagrees. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really great. And then, also for Jenna, Books of Jenna, the book club books that we're going to be reading this month are, I don't want to take the sticker off. I'm afraid I will rip the title and the cover, but we're going to be reading A Quiet Life by Ethan Joella and Stalking the Divine by Christine Olsen. This is a nonfiction, so that's my first nonfiction for the month of November. I also would like to start this one. It is How to Read Literature Like a Professor by Thomas C. Foster. It is, of course, nonfiction, but I probably won't finish it. All right. Now for my DIY literature degree, I will be reading, let's see. I gotta get my papers. To see which one is. Okay, so I'm on week 3 this week. 4. So 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm on week 2. 3. So 4 through 7 maybe? All right, let me get my schedule. I've been enjoying this DIY literature degree after I got Chat GPT to help me set it up. I'm so enjoying it. Okay, so let's start with this one. I will be reading The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. I'm fixing to start this one. Okay. And possibly start Frankenstein. Now I'm only doing, yes, I am doing a reread on this one. So, and I don't know if I'll get to this one or not, but I also have The Monk. I'm going to go ahead and put it with it because it is week 9 and I'm not sure how fast I'll go through these weeks. So now, for the book I'm reading for the 250th Jane Austen birthday celebration is Northanger Abbey. And okay, I have this book, but I didn't pull it out when I was over there digging for books. But I'm going to be reading or listening to, which one is it? I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the wrong book anyway, but I'm going to be listening to Dead Wake. It's already in my library holds. It's already come in. I also would like to try to get to The Demon of Unrest, which are both by Eric Larson. I want to start, and I don't know if I'll finish it, but How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler and Charles Van Doren. And my last two, I want to read Romantic Outlaws. And this is about Mary Shelley and her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft. I would like to read The Teachers by Alexandra Robbins, for obvious reasons. I'm a teacher. And I want to dip into The Well-Educated Mind by Susan Wise Bauer. And then there's 3 little fiction books. One is my Christian book that I told you about, Winter Storms by Ellen Hildebrand. This is the 3rd in the series about the Quinn family. I want to read this Jamie Jo Wright love-inspired suspense, Buried Wilderness Secrets Cold Case. And I want to read The Lost Baker of Vienna by Sharon Kurtzman. Now, do I think I'll get all these read? No. Not in the least. Because it's nonfiction. A lot of it is nonfiction. Okay, this is a historical fiction. This is The Lost Baker of Vienna. And it says, in 2018, Zoe Rezenswig is reeling after the loss of her beloved grandfather, a Holocaust survivor. She becomes obsessed with finding out what really happened to her family during the war. Vienna, 1946, Chana Rosenzweig has endured the horrors of war to find herself, her mother, and her younger brother finally free in Vienna. But as they struggle to make a living and stay safe, freedom hardly looks better than the war they just lived through. Okay, and then she is sneaking out at night and going to the restaurant where she works and making her dad's recipes. This one is about a park ranger who finds a serial killer's burial ground. I can't tell you anything about this other than it's about the Quinn family, and they have drama. The Well-Educated Mind is a guide to the classic education you never had. And it lists a lot of things that you can do, how to begin. So yes, I'm going to read some of this. And then The Teachers, it says, Alexandra Robbins goes behind the scenes to tell the true, sometimes shocking, always inspirational stories of 3 teachers as they navigate a year in the classroom. She follows Penny, a Southern middle school math teacher who grappled with a toxic staff clique at the big school in a small town. Miguel, a special ed teacher who fought for his students both as an educator and as an activist. And Rebecca, an East Coast elementary school teacher who struggled to schedule and define a life outside of school. Robbins also interviewed hundreds of other teachers nationwide who share their secrets, dramas, and joys. And Romantic Outlaws, says this groundbreaking dual biography brings to life a pioneering English feminist and the daughter she never knew. Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley have each been the subject of numerous biographies, yet no one has ever examined their lives in one book. Until now. In Romantic Outlaws, Charlotte Gordon reunites the trailblazing author of A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, and the romantic visionary who gave the world Frankenstein. Two courageous women who should have shared their lives but instead shared a powerful literary and feminist legacy, taking readers on a vivid journey across revolutionary France and Victorian England. Gordon seamlessly interweaves the lives of her two protagonists in alternating chapters, creating a book that reads like a richly textured historical novel. A truly revelatory biography, Romantic Outlaws explores the defiant creative lives of this daring mother-daughter pair who refuse to be confined by the rigid conventions of their era. I'm really looking forward to that. I thought it would be good since I'm doing the romanticism part in my study. How to Read a Book it was originally published in 1940 and has become a rare phenomenon. It is the best and most successful guide to reading comprehension for the general reader, and now it is being completely rewritten and updated. It looks like an old copy, doesn't it? Let's see when this one was copyrighted. 72. It's older than me. That's not saying much. Okay, and then The Demon of Unrest, which I thought is the one I had. It says, on November 6, 1860, Abraham Lincoln became the fluky victor in a tight race for president. The country was bitterly at odds. Southern extremists were moving ever closer to destroying the Union, with one state after another seceding, and Lincoln powerless to stop them. Slavery fueled the conflict, but somehow the passions of North and South came to focus on a lonely federal fortress in Charleston Harbor, Fort Sumter. I really want to read this. I don't know what Dead Wake is about. I should. I think it's the sinking of the Lithuania. And I do have that one. I just didn't see it over there. Okay. And I think we all know what Northanger Abbey is about. It's about Catherine Morland, and she leaves her sheltered rural home to enter the busy, sophisticated world of Bath in the late 1790s. And then Austen observes with insight and humor the interaction between Catherine and the various characters whom she meets there, and tracks her growing understanding of the world about her. And this is quite nice because she references the Mysteries of Udolpho in it. The characters are actually read it, and I will be reading that. So the monk, he was deaf to the murmurs of conscience and resolved to satisfy his desires at any price. It's a sensational story of temptation and depravity, a masterpiece of Gothic fiction, and the first horror novel in English literature. The respected monk Ambrosio, the abbot of Capuchin monastery in Madrid, is overwhelmed with desire for a young girl, and after swiftly abandoning his monastic vows, he begins a terrible descent into immorality and violence. Frankenstein is about Dr. Frankenstein creating and bringing to life this being who ends up being a monster. The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. Her present life appeared like the dream of a distempered imagination, or like one of those frightful fictions in which the wild genius of the poets sometimes delighted. Reflection brought only regret and anticipation terror. Such is the state of mind of Anne Radcliffe's orphan heroine, Emily St. Aubert, who finds herself imprisoned in her evil guardian Count Montoni's gloomy medieval fortress in the remote Apennines. Terror is the order of the day inside the walls of Udolpho as Emily struggles against Montoni's schemes and the threat of her own psychological disintegration. Okay, How to Read Literature Like a Professor by Thomas C. Foster. It says it helps us to discover those hidden truths by looking at literature with the practical analytical eye and the literary codes of a college professor. What does it mean when a protagonist is traveling along a dusty road? When he hands a drink to his companion? When he's drenched in a sudden rain shower? I'm not going to tell you what Stalking the Divine and A Quiet Life are about because Jenna always gives a brief summary on her channel. She would do a much better job. And then I've already told you what Bearing God's Name is about. So that is my November TBR, and I hope to do some vlogging with it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.